Hello and welcome to Treasury Notes, a financial education program from the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office. I'm your host, Gina Joins. State Treasurer John Perdue serves as the banker of state government, a responsibility he takes very seriously. But of equal importance is his dedication to the people of West Virginia and helping them achieve personal financial security. Treasurer Perdue oversees several office programs dedicated to helping individuals save and invest for their future. There is the Smart 529 College Savings Program, which helps families plan for a child's future. The WVABLE plan, which provides a tax-advantaged saving and investment program for people with disabilities. Then, of course, there is the West Virginia Retirement Plus plan, a supplemental retirement savings plan for state and public employees. Today, we're going to learn more about this program. We're going to talk about who is eligible for this retirement savings option and what advantages it offers. And joining me now to explore this subject is Jack Berry, Deputy Treasurer for West Virginia Retirement Plus. Jack, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you being here. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me, Gina.
And I want to start just with some basic information about the retirement plan. West Virginia Retirement Plus, it's a 457B supplemental retirement plan for government employees. How is this different from other retirement plans, and maybe how does it work?
Okay. First off, it's only for governmental employees. The public cannot participate in the program. You have to be a public employee to receive the benefits of the 457. And there are different benefits that go along with that plan. There's no early withdrawal penalty if you take the money out early, if you change jobs and move from one job to the other. And there's different distinct benefits. You can have different type of investment options, and it goes from state employees to county employees to local government, all the local government employees.
And we're talking about a supplemental retirement plan. So why is it important to have that extra nest egg, that supplemental plan?
Well, it'll help you bridge. It'll help you get from your 55. A lot of people want to retire in government work when they reach the age of 55 or 60. And that money will become available to you upon you retiring. And you can utilize that to bridge from that point into the Social Security to where it can help you manage your funds during that time frame.
And a lot of people, I've heard this compared to a 401k or something like that. There's a private sector equivalent, so to speak, to the 457.
It's very similar. It does basically the same things, has some of the same investment options, but it does not have the benefits of the public employee can transport this from job to job and also get the money out without the 10% penalty.
And I know State Treasurer John Perdue is very proud of this plan, and you're very proud of this plan. You took it over as director of the program several years ago. Empower Retirement is actually the entity that manages this plan for the State Treasurer's Office. Explain Empower's role and how they partner with the State Treasurer's Office.
Well, Empower is very, very important to us. They are the folks that manage the investments and do the record keeping for us. They take care of all the call-ins. They have the helplines, and they answer day-to-day questions. It's not that the Treasurer's Office isn't involved in some of the same functions. It's just that they're on a larger basis, the scale with folks have changes that they'd like to make. They can either call them directly on their 800 number, or they can call the Treasurer's Office.
And can you talk a little bit about what those options are for people? I know there are a lot of options. If, regardless of what your end goal is, there's going to be an option for you in Retirement Plus.
You have pre-tax options so that you can put the money in before you pay tax on it, which reduces your income, or you can have after-tax, which is considered a Roth. That is available in our plan. And, the plan is something that carries through your whole work life, we hope, and that once you get to the age of retirement, then it's available for you to use.
And the Roth function, that piece of it is fairly new to the 457 plan.
We've had it about 3 years now. So, it came when we switched from Voya to Empower.
And so let's talk about what that is. That's an after-tax contribution.
Correct.
Versus pre-tax, when you put your money in straight from your paycheck pre-tax. The Roth is an after-tax. Any idea why someone would want to take that option? I know there are certain reasons why people want
you
that.
can look at it, have you ever known taxes to go down? You want to prepay those taxes, so when the money's available for you to use, taxes has already been paid on it, so therefore you can draw the money out without paying the tax on it, because it's already been paid at the time you entered it into the plan.
And a lot of people ask, are there fees to be associated with this program and to make this investment?
There are fees. Nothing's free, so there are fees, but the fees are very, very low. We have some close to 19,000 participants in this plan, which allows us to seek different people on bids to give us a better price, better options.
And so we can talk about that economies of scale, so to speak, where you mentioned Empower is the record keeper of the plan. They do a lot of different government entities out there. They are the record keeper for a lot of plans, not just West Virginia's. So there is that buying power, so to speak, that negotiating power that they have to be able to keep the fees fairly low for participants.
Yes, they're very active in the governmental market. They're one of the largest in the country, and they understand the plans. Rather than just having one or two, they have several states, and we have actually talked with other states that Empower works for, and everyone seems to be impressed with the type of work that they do.
In talking about that work, I want to kind of go into the customer service aspect of it, because that's a piece that the program manager does as well as the customer service. And I think it's very helpful when you're able to call someone or sit down with them and talk about your investment options, talk about what your future goals are, talk about some of the ways the West Virginia Retirement Plus makes that available to public employees.
Well, Empower has many different ways that they do that. One of the best ways is that they have 2 regional representatives which work full-time on our plan and do nothing else but that. They go out on a daily basis and meet with participants or meet with entities that are interested in participating in the program to explain the different options. They also have the call-in number, the 800 number that folks can call in 24 hours a day. That's available. They can utilize that number. They're also working on technology. They're working on phone apps that they have that are available for the younger generation that they can utilize to stay in contact and look at their investments. A lot of people don't take time to go back and look at what they've done over the previous year. But most of the younger folks have a phone, and now even the older folks have a phone in their hand. So if you just push on an app, you can see your results.
And of course, there's website too, WV457.com, all the resources you need there. We showed the 1-800 number a little while ago. A lot of different ways to get in touch with people if you have questions about your plan, or if you don't have a plan yet and you are a public employee, whether you work for a city, county, the state, you can call us to see if you have an option to get
You can call us to see if the entity participates in our program. If not, we can actually go out and talk to that entity and get them enrolled so that their employees can participate.
And when it comes to actually managing your personal account, there are a lot of different options. You can do it yourselves. There's even an advisory service that you can just pay just a little bit extra for and get a lot more guidance.
Yes, for those that have been in the investment side of things for some time, which very few of us have, they can actually manage their own. But the best thing that I've seen is the target date funds and the managed funds that Empower has set up that you can participate in. If you know about when you're going to retire, you can pick one of those target date funds and it'll automatically change as you go through the process. But the managed fund does cost a little bit of money, but it's been proven over time that managed fund actually will make you more money in the long run.
And just some of the basic information when you're looking at your account, if you have questions about how much you should be putting in, there are some simple tools on the website I mentioned earlier, WV457.com, where participants can go and they can use a cost calculator, kind of find out how much They could be investing for their long-term goals. Talk a little bit about some of those tools that are available online.
Well, the great thing is what you mentioned, the calculator that will allow you, it's a slide calculator, it'll allow you to look at Social Security, it'll allow you to look at your state retirement, and it'll allow you to look at your 457, and you select the amount that you would like to put in, whether you want to save 80% to retire or 70%, that's up to you. But you also have an option if you put in $20 a pay or $30 a pay, as you move that scale, it shows you how that puts you toward your end goal. And it really is eye-opening if you sit there and you play with it and you look at your Social Security and you look at your state retirement as to how you're going to end up in retirement. That's why most people that do that know how important the 457 is.
And talk about doing that. I think it is important. One of the messages that you probably drive home a lot is to check your account, is to go online and get familiar with what you're doing. Whether you're in our 457, the State Treasurer's Retirement Plus program for governmental employees, or if you work in the private sector and you have your own investments or you have a 401k, it's important to familiarize yourself with your plan. Talk about that.
Most certainly. You know, things change often in the financial markets, and if you're invested in the funds, you can go up and down, and you need to know this. Now, you don't need to look at it on a daily basis or a weekly basis, but at least we suggest that you look at it once a year to know where you're at. And a lot of times I tell people, you know, you don't think about it, but think about it on your birthday. This could be a good birthday present if you open it up and you see that the earnings that you have made.
And it's not necessarily that you have to make investment changes, perhaps.
No.
I mean, a lot of times people don't feel comfortable making those decisions, or they set it and forget it. I think depending on your level of comfort, you can make those changes as necessary. But there are other things when you revisit that plan or when you go in and check your account, you can be thinking about. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but I just want to kind of tease the fact you can talk about your beneficiaries, revisit who are your beneficiaries for this plan, revisit how much you are investing. People get raises over time, or their financial status changes. When your financial status changes, you can make changes to your Retirement Plus account. Yes,
you can. And it's expected. I mean, nothing stays the same. You know, people especially want to make sure that they have a beneficiary. You know, a lot of plans that we go through, the beneficiary has been left off when the application was made. It could have been that, you know, the person was young, they didn't have anybody that they actually wanted to leave the money to, or that was the farthest thing from their mind. You know, getting them to sign up was the big thing. The beneficiary, they usually say, well, we'll get back to you. And, you know, over time they forget, well, when this becomes a decent sum of money, you actually need a beneficiary, because if you don't have that, then your funds will go into your estate.
And talking about a beneficiary, soon there's going to be an incentive.
We actually have worked with Empower and are going to put out a $10 program to make sure, and the thing is, we want you to go online, we want you to check your account, we want you to look. If you don't have a beneficiary listed, we will actually pay you $10 to fill out your beneficiary and to give us an email address. So that will be credited to your account. That's going to start the 1st of December and actually end December the 31st.
So $10 just to check your beneficiary, make any changes you need to make, or if you don't have a beneficiary, definitely fill that out.
Yeah. Well, we'll need an email address.
Okay.
That's another thing that we're requiring there. And if you already have a beneficiary, then you're not eligible. You've actually done your homework ahead.
Great. All right. I'm here talking with Jack Berry of the West Virginia Retirement Plus program, which is a supplemental retirement savings program for state and public employees in West Virginia. We're talking a lot about sitting down with people, thinking about what you're saving, and actually taking the steps to proactively look at your account. We're going to talk a lot more about that here in just a few minutes, but first we're going to take a short break, and when we return, more about the West Virginia Retirement Plus program. Stay with us.
No one's journey looks the same, but everyone's needs a start. Smart 529 College Savings Plans.
Welcome back to Treasury Notes. I'm your host, Gina Joins. Today we're talking about West Virginia Retirement Plus, West Virginia's official supplemental retirement plan for public employees. With me right now is Jack Berry, Deputy Treasurer of Retirement Plus. And Jack, I'm excited to have you in the studio today talking about saving for the future. And when we talk about saving for the future, October actually is the National Retirement Security Week, formerly known as National Save for Retirement Week. And during the month of October, the 457 plan participates in this. So talk a little bit about the importance of this awareness campaign and what it means to set aside a week during the year where people are really paying attention to what they're saving for retirement.
Yes, this is one of the better events we put on each year. We've done that for the past 4 years, and people that are located in the Capitol, we actually have an open house for them in the Treasurer's office. We bring people in from Empower. The investment advisors are there. The Vice President of Governmental Business was there. We had several folks just to take questions and make answers to you. And it worked out very well. We had that recently, and I think everybody that left were very happy with what they had. A lot of people made a lot of changes. Most people won't make a change because they feel unsure. The best thing that you can do if you feel unsure is call us. The financial advisors will actually come out, sit down, do one-on-one meetings with you, and help you decide what's best for you. And the thing I'd like to say about that, there's no charge for any of this. This is a service that's provided with Empower. And another thing that I think is very, very important, none of these folks are on a commission basis. They're all salary based, so the information that they give you, they're not selling you anything. They're trying to provide you with the best advice that they can give just for your situation.
Right. You already have the product, so now it's managing how you're going to make it work for you. And I think that's really the goal, is how is it going to work for you? And you mentioned earlier when we were talking off camera that a lot of employees came to the open house this year and really had good questions. They had good questions about what they wanted to know or what guidance they wanted.
We can see year from year the people that come to the open house. They're more educated. They're looking into it. That's what this is about, the National Retirement Week, is to get people thinking about that and wanting to ask questions that will make them have a comfort level with what they're doing. Several folks came in and increased the money that they were putting into the plan. Others came in and changed investments. Others only had questions, but they went back and they're going to think about things, and then they have the number of those folks to call and make those changes.
And there are some changes to the plan that are either have just recently been rolled out or are going to be rolled out. One of those is the opt-out option for state employees. We have the automatic enrollment to the program, but now you really have to opt out. So talk a little bit about the concept behind this and why this is going to be a good thing for employees.
Well, this is a very good thing because
it's for new employees.
Well, for new employees, that's correct. It has nothing to do with people that have been employed. This will actually start on January 1st, 2020. So anybody hired after that time, we will have an automatic enrollment of that individual unless they defer that or decline that at the time that they sign up to their payroll department or their HR department. So what will happen if you do nothing, it's going to go to Empower. They're automatically going to enroll you at $10 per month, and it will be in a target date fund at that time. So then they'll send you a letter, and they'll tell you that you still can opt out if you like, but this is what this is about. They have a real nice presentation that they're going to send. If it's due email, that I have some little shark bites and so forth that explain the retirement plan to get people interested in it. Most people, before, we didn't have a way of tracking who had declined and not at some of the smaller agencies. Now this will get everybody because this will be generated through OASIS. So everyone that receives a payday through the state and it goes through OASIS will actually be selected and participate in the program.
And when you say OASIS, that is the accounting system, the software that's being used for the state. And so systematically, it's going to work a lot better. But I also think, kind of going back to the original question of why is this a good thing? Some people might say, oh, automatically enrolled. But it's one less decision. I know when people first start a job, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made. There's a lot they have to fill out. And typically, the retirement piece of it gets put to the side. Oh, I'll think about that later. I'll sit down and talk with my husband or my wife about this later. And you don't always get that decision made right away. So this is something where you start getting the $10 put in. If you say, no, it's not what I want to do, I've changed my mind, I want to do something else, you absolutely have that right to change your mind and to say, no, this is not what I want. But what we found is that a lot of people, I think what you have found is a lot of people, they're happy that that money's going in, and then they say, oh yeah, this is great, this is working out so well, I'm going to increase.
That's correct.
So do you see that where a lot of people say, yes, this is, I want to do more because this is working out so well for me?
I've talked with folks that have been auto-enrolled and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you talk to these people at these different agencies and they'll go, well, I'm not sure if I participate or not. Can you look, here's my information, can you look up and tell me? And they're shocked. They said, well, we're only putting $10 a pay in and it's generated this. And I said, that's correct. Well, then they're interested in possibly increasing that because they didn't miss the $10.
Yeah.
That's something, once you get started and once you get your mind set that you're ready to look at retirement seriously, then these things kind of just fit in and the money is not the issue.
And starting is the hardest step, we've always heard. A lot of people always ask the question, is it too late? Is it too late to invest? Is there a way for me to catch up? Of course, I think you probably say it's never too late to start.
It's never too late, that's correct. And the amount that you can put in a year is $19,000 a year in 2019. So that's, a lot of people look at that and say, well, who could ever afford to put in $19,000? Well, there are people that do that, and it's usually people with spouses that have another job and allows them to tax defer some of their income or use the Roth to pay tax. But it's exciting. It's exciting to watch them once they realize that this is available. We had people yesterday that wanted to know about the catch-up provision, which would allow you to put an additional, if you're over 50, put an additional $6,000 a year in that on top of the 19. And those folks are preparing for retirement, and they have the good questions. There's another catch-up provision that is a special catch-up provision, but you would need to talk to one of the financial advisors because you have to have credits to do that. But it will double the $19,000 yearly.
And you can also put rollovers into this
yes,
plan.
Yes,
a lot of people switching jobs. That was something I actually did when I started working for the state, is I rolled over a 401k.
Yes. That's one of the best things because once you roll that money in, the investment's going to stay basically the same as what you've had. But the fees associated with managing that are going to fall with Empower, and hopefully we have less fees and less structure to that so that it is easier for you to get to.
And there are some great benefits. Let's just talk quickly about those. Of course, your earnings grow tax deferred. That's a great benefit. Talk about some of the benefits of this plan.
Well, the tax deferred, people, and again, you say where you start too late, people that are in their older years getting close to retirement usually have, additional income that they can add to the retirement. What this does, though, this will reduce your annual income and reduce your overall tax liability. That is a big plus. The other things is that, like I said before, it's portable. I've seen people and talked with people that got in the plan many years ago, but their intent was to take the money when they retired and start a business. So, you can be very creative. It's your money. You can do with it what you want to. You can actually, you don't have to take the money out of the 457 plan. A lot of people, when you talk about a retirement plan, they think, well, I'm retired, I want my money. And we'll do that. We'll give you a lump sum payment, but we also can set it up like an annuity where you can receive payments on quarterly basis, monthly basis. You determine how you want to receive that, and you can still leave it in and still get the same treatment that you got before on your investments and so forth.
Jack, this leads me right to my next question. It's a good segue. So when can you start withdrawing that money? Because a lot of people want to know, okay, I'm investing, maybe I'm getting close, I don't really know now how to use this money or how I can access this money.
Well, that's what makes the 457 so unique. Anytime you have a term date or you're unemployed with the state, that money becomes available to you without the 10% penalty. So at any time that you're not employed, now as long as you're employed and you can stop your money that's going into the 457 at any time, but as long as you're employed, you can't receive that. You have to be either at retirement age or you have to have changed jobs or moved out of the public employment.
All right, great discussion here. I'm sitting here with Jack Berry of the West Virginia Retirement Plus program, supplemental retirement program for state and public employees, governmental employees around West Virginia. Thanks so much for being here. Any quick final thoughts about what people should do if they're interested in hearing more about this?
Well, the biggest thing is start. And the first place to start is with your human resources person or with the person that does payroll in your offices. Just go ahead and talk to them and ask them, tell them that you've heard about the Retirement Plus and that it is a state benefit to state employees that is allowed to be utilized with local governments. Once they have that, they just tell them to call the Treasurer's office. And the air number is 304-558-5000. So once they do that, they can call and ask to speak to someone in Retirement Plus, and we'll come out and sit down and talk with them and explain the whole thing.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for being here, Jack. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can always get the latest news and information from the State Treasurer's Office. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on our website. Keeping you informed on the Library Television Network, I'm Gina Joins with the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office.